for me, entrepreneurship has always been the way.
Investing is important because it's the only way you are going to be able to get rich and wealthy for your family. We can close the wealth gap by working together.
Market Monday is the biggest investment show ever.
My life has literally changed since watching EYL.
When you can make people money and you can add value, they're going to be forever indebted to you.
And I promise you this year, I'm going to make y'all even more money.
Disclaimer, do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Let's build our knowledge, our community, and our brokerage accounts. Love is love.
Love. Happy Monday. We're back. Love is love.
That's a fact. Happy Monday, June 1st. Yeah, shout out to everybody that made it here today. We appreciate you being here.
Real quick, Troy, it sounds like your laptop is picking up and not the mic. Just want to catch that real quick.
Let's get to the bottom of that ASAP.
Yeah. But happy Monday. How y'all feeling?
Yeah. Ian, any announcements?
Stock Club replay will be out tomorrow in Telegram. I've been dropping stuff all weekend and week for y'all. Podcast Summit, I will be there with David Shands and you guys. I will be breaking down my thoughts on how to thrive in podcasting and media, how to get an edge in the market, how to not sell your soul and lose all your rights and lose all your IP. So get your tickets to Podcast Summit. This is the only time I probably am going to break down my blueprint for how to attack the market and get rich from using media. Shout out to my guy, Lonnie Randolph. Congrats on your marriage. Travis, Kurt, Daryl, Karma, everyone who was at the wedding, Jason Gonzalez. Love y'all. I'm going to catch up with y'all this week. And then it's June. I'm going through the prices now and finishing. I am going to make sure that the prices are out in a couple of days. I got a couple more T's to cross and I's to dot before I send the prices out. But we'll have a bunch of prices out by Wednesday at the latest. So I love you all so much.
Appreciate that. How we sounding now?
Mic check loud and clear. Okay, y'all sound like Hove at Roost's Picnic.
Yo, easy.
Shout out to the boy, shout out to TV Gucci. But
we cannot offend our political connects
at all.
Shout out to the whole Roost's Picnic. I know you was in attendance yesterday.
You in attendance, my boy?
Yes, sir. Shout out to Roost's Picnic. Shout out to T.I. Shout out to Terrence. J. Crew Love. Yeah, we was out there. You know, I got to see T.I. perform. A little bit of Erykah Badu.
Okay.
A little bit of Kalani.
Wow.
So, you know.
You saw Kalani?
Yeah. She was on the same time as T.I., so
on a separate stage. How did that let him know ring off? Did it ring off?
You know, T.I., he did like 50-minute sets, so you know he got his. He got
a bunch of them.
He went through.
He got a bunch of.
He went through the catalog. So shout out to Tip, who will be at InvestFest, by the way.
Indeed.
Okay.
T.I. one of them. T.I. is a special dude, man. So yeah, shout out to everybody that was tapping in. You know, a lot of people stopped me and saying they watch Market Mondays, they attended InvestFest, Earn Your Leisure, Blackout, EYL University. Like, it was just an assortment of different people from different things. Like I said, some people was like they tapped in this way, some people tapped in this way. Met a brother say he was up 1,400% on MU. So it was a lot of different conversations from people that, you know, was receptive to the content. So shout out to all of the people out there that was showing love.
Man,
you know,
so that's diversification of media, right? Are you going to talk about that at David Shands Podcast Summit?
Shout out to Dave Shands. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will be in the building. And I will say this too, man. It's a very special week. Blackout, we back. Man, that last episode was a good one for sure. I feel like, you know, we touched on a lot of topics. We got a lot of topics to talk about this Blackout and Earn Your Leisure. We back with another live episode. This is one of the most important ones that we've done this year. This is a live episode, 9 o'clock, and we will be with the queen of AI, Alicia Little.
Okay.
We're gonna give an AI blueprint. The AI blueprint for investors, for people that's in business, entrepreneurs, for people that's just trying to get their life together, for people that's trying to take it to the next level and make 6 figures, for people trying to make 7 figures, people trying to make 8 figures. We
Let's
are giving
get to
the
it.
artificial intelligence blueprint. If you don't know nothing about artificial intelligence, if you know a little bit, if you know a lot, whatever, you need to tap in. She's an expert. She's been doing this at a very high level, teaching people. And she will be at InvestFest as well. And she's going to be doing a presentation at InvestFest. So part of her InvestFest, tying it all in, we will be giving away 10 tickets. 10 tickets. But you have to be tuned in. It'll be live. So we will be during the show on 9 o'clock on Thursday. We will be giving away 10 tickets to InvestFest, courtesy of Alicia, because she definitely got a lot to say at InvestFest. So she wanted to kind of run that promo. But you have to be watching the episode live. It's going to be throughout the episode.
That's
might
smart.
do like 2, 3, 2, 2. So tap in 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday.
Please. And if you are, shout out to all the earners, shout out to the Red Panda family, all earners, please go check your bulletin. We got a meeting scheduled for this Wednesday, emergency meeting. Make sure y'all pull up all the Green Jacket members. I need y'all to report to the front, and we have to have a conversation. So please pull up. I believe it's Wednesday at 7. Go check the bulletin in the community.
Yeah, if you have a green jacket, please tap in 7 o'clock on Wednesday.
7 o'clock Wednesday.
No, you got a green jacket today.
I did get a green jacket today. I think we might have to upgrade the color. I think that's like number 4 since the last time we spoke here on Market Mondays. Shout out to everybody that's been executing. Shout out to everybody that's been cheering it on. Shout out to everybody that's been sharing. I saw somebody today put up a 4,500%.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. Man,
it's cooking.
Execution at the highest level. Stay low, keep firing. I know that's the motto. And people are doing just that, right? Like they're sharing their wins, but they're not satisfied with them. They're looking for more opportunities. And they come to the right place to find it, man. The number 1 show in the world. So let's get to it, man. What's up?
You about
he
to say
said
something?
pull up. I thought he said pull up.
No, I didn't say pull up.
But he said pull up. Pull up Wednesday.
Pull up. Oh, no, yeah. Pull up. All right. Let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Investment fact of the week.
Oh, this is a really good one. If you take the data, S&P annual highs per month since 1950 through 2025, do you know that never in the month of June has the market peaked in June? So this is a really, really great time to buy. Usually in July, we've only had 3 new highs for the year. August, we've had 3. Normally in November and December is when we have the peak. So when I was going back and looking through the historical data, I thought it was very fascinating that it slows down in April and May and June. The market never has peaked since 1950 in the middle of the year. This is one of the greatest runs I think we've ever seen in tech history. We could talk about valuations and P ratio and Schiller ratio later. But what this tells me is for the second half of the year, the market is going to be on an absolute tear. And if you are afraid or if you're new, June is going to be a great opportunity to buy. Never in history since 1950 has the market peaked at this month. Now is going to be the time to buy this month. Roll into the gains for later in the year and you'll be A-okay. See you at InvestFest, so you'll have a great opportunity to buy in August as well. But November and December should be absolutely amazing. That's the investment fact of the week.
Yeah, man. I guess the buy in May and go away thing didn't really hold steady.
No.
I think NASDAQ was up 8% for the month. I feel like we have these conversations more and more every week with I don't know if it's fear, maybe it's anxiety of, is this going to crash? What are we looking at? What are we seeing? There's no way that this could be real. How is this going to be sustainable? And every time we look, I mean, there's a new metric, and I know 99 gets compared a lot, and there's obviously some huge differences. Number one, the amount of revenue being brought in, the amount of earnings that's being brought in, the profitability of a lot of these companies where those didn't exist in 99. I feel like the new rules are being made right now, right? It just feels like if you have to be flexible with some of history in a sense, right? As I listened to a lot of experts, I was up watching Jensen last night, just blown away. Watched Tom Lee, was watching CNBC all day, and I'm just they don't know what to make of what we're seeing, and so remain disciplined. But as sometimes you just have to make adjustments in the sense of, where's the new entry point? A lot of times I get asked, probably 4 to 5 times a day, well, what's the entry point? When I'm like, well, let's see where this thing settles. Well, maybe it doesn't settle. And so now we have to be adjustable with some of our plan, but that doesn't mean we don't remain disciplined. So I think that would be my rule of the week. It would be have a plan, be disciplined, but also have the flexibility to adjust.
And I'll say this too: the selling may go and go away axiom was always done, and it was for institutional investors. I always like to go to other business realms, right? Bob Johnson never did that with BET. Steinbrenner never did it with the Yankees. Dolan never did it with New York. We have to make sure, because a lot of times in media, people will give you advice on what to do and do the complete opposite. For example, like if you take Ray Dalio in Bridgewater, one of the greatest firms of all time, even now through principles and changing world order, he's telling you about an imminent collapse, right? And he did this in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s while selling a diversified portfolio strategy to every continent on earth. Please be mindful of the information that you're giving on public airwaves, because most billionaires are not going to share their strategies on what they're actually doing in real time.
Well, you know what billionaire actually did share a strategy was Mike Novogratz, and that was somebody that we've had on Market Mondays twice. And then when we went on his podcast and he was saying about gold, and after that gold went up like 70%, he talked about Bitcoin when it was, at a low point, a variety of different things. He actually was talking bad about XRP during the pandemic. And I think they was like, yo, can y'all cut that part out? Because then XRP ended up in the dumpster. But he was one of the first billionaires to actually get on a broadcast and be like, yo, no. And then everybody in the comments was like, oh, he's trying to derail you. You don't listen to him. He's trying to sabotage your portfolio. Make sure you buy it. And we've seen what happened to XRP ever since.
Yeah, we're seeing.
But I do say that to say, Mike Novogratz will be at InvestFest. Get your tickets to InvestFest. For sure. InvestFest.com.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite investors for sure.
Yeah.
One of the few billionaires that will have an InvestFest.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Alert has been issued. I was going to say, like, we're watching rules being changed, right? When you hear guys, we just saw Michael Burry again with another proclamation, right? Tesla's numbers are fake. Nvidia's numbers are fake. Okay, you were right in 2008. What's the track record since? We just saw Berkshire Hathaway, who said they would be sitting on the sideline, just invest $10 billion into Google.
Under new leadership.
Under new leadership 3 weeks ago, hey, the valuations are too elevated. We're going to wait. We're going to sit this out. We got a $400 billion treasure chest. Today, they allocated $10 billion into Google because of the AI demand. Right? We're seeing this. We saw Michael Saylor said he would never
sell his Bitcoin. And here, y'all kill me. Tonight, I want an apology.
He would never sell his Bitcoin.
Yep.
Lo and behold, he has now sold Bitcoin.
Now you're starting to sell off, and some of the derivative products that you made as a result to raise cash and da-da-da. I get it. I'm not going, because I've told in Stock Club. Let me get some pandas in chat. The issues that he faced taking on those institutions, right? So they can suppress the market long enough to cause uncomfortability for you, to make you reverse your course and to embarrass you publicly. And to your point, like you said, most funds are not going to tell you their book of business on air for their competition to derail them. They're oftentimes going to tell you the exact opposite of what they're doing. And that's why it's really important to go through the filings and see. And even with Berkshire, even though they have a bunch of cash on hand, they're under new leadership. He wants to get out of Buffett's shadow, and he's going to do so through tech.
It's evident, and it goes back to that idea of just being able to adjust. I'm not sure if everybody was witnessing this live, but Friday during trading around 3:23, a tweet went out, and we'll talk about that later with Nvidia and ARM and Microsoft. And at 3:30, you start to see companies running, Broadcom's running, Micron's running, SanDisk is running. You see all these companies running, but the one company that was kind of falling down was Nvidia. And it talks about being adjustable. Why is Nvidia falling down? Well, here comes a rebalancing act. The act that you never get to see, you just get to feel a part of, right? Well, why would they rebalance out of Nvidia, this company that is going to be leading the AI dominance for the next 5 to 10 years, if not longer? Well, if you look at the largest allocation in S&P, when people see opportunity and they want to have liquidity, they're going to try to find liquidity.
Going to attack it
from their largest holding. And their largest holding, S&P, is weighted 8%. So let's rebalance. Let's take some money off the table there and let's start spreading it into other companies as well. What does that mean? That means there's a broad exposure to AI. Not only are we seeing, institutions are seeing it. And so if Nvidia goes from 8.8% of the S&P down to 8.4%, still the largest allocation, but now there's more liquidity to put it in other companies. And we kind of saw that happening at the end, like literally at the end of the day on Friday. If you look at the charts from about 3:30 to 4, you saw a drastic climb up in a lot of companies. That was happening. But if the average person is watching it, it's like, oh my gosh, is it over? And then here we go. Yeah. Obviously, Jensen spoke yesterday, and here we are with Nvidia climbing back up over $13. There,
and if I can say this,
you got it too.
Yeah. If I can say this last point too, please write this down. The hedge fund business is in the capital accumulation business. You are in the holding empires for 20 years business. They're two totally different things. To everyone who kept asking me, well, what's up with Microsoft? And is it going to? The rotation affected them. And everyone who killed every software stock, and some were valuable, some were not. But you have to realize AI is a software as well. That's the interesting part. Now Microsoft is starting to make a move, and everyone's like, okay, it's coming back from the dead. That company is too valuable to go anywhere. But the hedge funds are in the capital accumulation, asset under management business. You are in the hold companies and things that are valuable for a very long time business. They are not the same. Please do not get tricked out of your spot.
Yeah, another prime example of the market adjusting. And I think Snowflake became a trigger for that, right? Snowflake becomes a software company when we're talking about that 5-layer cake again. Application software, Snowflake shows revenue growth. Okay, that means that this sector actually has something. And so you watch Snowflake, you watch ServiceNow, you watch Microsoft that was caught inside of that. You watch the IGV ETF start to move up. It starts hitting those moving averages where it shows growth. That trend line starts to move. And now you see momentum going in. And so things are happening, and it might start with one company and trigger an entire sector. So you got to be ready and be prepared.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Shout out to Serena Williams. I forgot to mention that at the beginning.
Welcome back.
Congratulations.
Welcome back. Speaking of which, is there any person that you know that is above $100 million that's sold out of any asset that you know of less than 2 years?
100? No, not 100.
See, even that's telling. Go ahead, Rashad. I just want to make that last little point.
Yeah, well, it depends on how you define selling out of an asset. Because Trump has been trading like a maniac. Nancy Pelosi, she's been traded like a maniac.
You know Trump? We're not doing that.
I don't know. I'm just saying, you don't
fake news.
Know. I've seen him.
Well, do you?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know Trump.
I was like, damn, I ain't get that text, my boy.
Don't know. Let's talk about the Anthropic IPO.
The time has come.
The time has come. And you know what? I think it's really fascinating going back to, because there's certain things that can move a company up or down, right? But we don't talk enough about the liabilities list, right? OpenAI, war with Elon, OpenAI, not the best relationship with Apple, not the best relationship with Microsoft. And here comes Anthropic, good relationship with Tesla, good relationship with Nvidia, good relationship with Microsoft. And because OpenAI's valuation is dropping down, they front run going public before them. So I wanted to ask you guys, I thought it was a brilliant chess move, but do you think them IPOing before OpenAI puts OpenAI as a permanent number 2 in the AI space?
I wouldn't say permanent number 2 because anything can happen, but it definitely doesn't. It's another, list of unfortunate things that have happened to OpenAI over the course of the last 12 months or so. So, first to market is very important, vitally important.
That's a great in branding and IPOs,
Success
pre-IPO.
Success loves speed.
Mm-hmm.
Get your tickets to investors.
That's crazy. Yeah,
you're funny.
I think,
no, but also, like I said, I mean, success definitely loves speed, and man, the first to market really matters. So, Sam Altman, but this doesn't mean that they can't reverse course. But I feel like they have a lot. They have a lot to overcome.
A lot of. Let's talk like it's just us. Is this one of the greatest missteps in 18-month history? Like I went back and looked. I don't remember a company, maybe CompuServe versus AOL, if you go back far enough, or Netscape. I don't remember a company ushering in a new technology and then having the 18-month negative run that they've had in my lifetime.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the character of the CEO. I
For
think,
sure.
You started with a solid relationship with one of the best companies in the world, in Microsoft. And as your company grew, demand grew, you sought out other partnerships, which is fine. But when you start doing that against, competition in the same space, the original company starts to look at you a little away, right? Which is why they had to readjust the partnership with Microsoft. But you continuously do that. And then it's Nvidia, then it's Oracle, then it's Broadcom, and they're Intel, and you figure out, you start going down this list, and it's like, well, who are they loyal to other than themselves?
No.
And then Anthropic comes, and Amazon has been there from day one, and you see Google's been in part of that, and Microsoft's looking at it from a standpoint, okay, well, we were at the beginning stages with you, right? We invested that $10 billion. You start to have other partners, and Microsoft does the same, and they go invest in Anthropic as well. And so that attack comes, and then you have Elon, with the court case, which obviously held a lot of things up for them. And then it was the assassination attempt from a campaign of how are we going to paint this guy in a way that's going to be unfavorable to slow up the valuation. I mean, you think about it, maybe 2 years ago, we weren't saying that this was going to be $1 trillion IPO. Here we are in 2026. Not only is Anthropic now at $1 trillion, but OpenAI could still potentially be $1 trillion IPO,
Absolutely.
Which is nothing to sneeze at. I think that both of them are important because they are in the same sector in terms of AI application. And it'll be interesting to see, can they carry that torch for the application layer? We know what happened at the infrastructure layer when we were talking about Nvidia and how dominant that was and how much profit was made and how much growth was made based on that Nvidia empire. Well, here comes the next layer of leaders inside of applications, right? Gemini is already here, obviously inside of Google, but OpenAI and Anthropic really will let us know this CapEx spend, how much revenue can it generate, how much profitability can be made, and how many more applications could potentially come in the future. It's a lot weighing on it. Plus, I mean, you got the 6-month hold up for these companies, the amount of liquidity that's going to come into the market. It's an interesting time, but it's a very important time, specifically for AI and that next layer of the 5-layer cake.
Yeah, the valuation concern is a big thing. Anthropic valuation is $965 billion. They have a reported revenue of $7 to $10 billion. If you compare it to Samsung, $850 billion valuation. They do $230 billion in revenue, and then OpenAI, their revenue issues have been talked about. At one point, going back to saying one thing and doing another, Sam said we would never have ads, and then there was deep ad integration into OpenAI. So there's a lot of things that need to be righted on that ship. For those who are going to ask the question, invest in both. Wait for every IPO, wait 6 months. But I do think that there has been a great misstep by Sam, and we talked about character endlessly for the last maybe 13 or 14 months regarding Sam. But like you said, he's loyal to no one, only himself, and has bled into the culture of the company, and it's cost him greatly in losing this lead, this pole position.
Yeah, it feels almost, when we were maybe 2-3 years ago, we were talking about Google and how they had a level of greatness inside of DeepMind and all the things that had been created from the people who left DeepMind. And now you're starting to see that happen at OpenAI.
They're leaving.
They're losing their leadership, and they're losing executives, and they're losing talent. And that's worrisome. If I'm somebody that's looking at this as a long-term investment, that's worrisome.
Yeah.
Before you've IPO'd, you've lost some really, really great talent. But again, that Elon case, when you're trying to fight that, it's tough to be innovative. It's tough to be creative. So we'll see. Now that that's out the way, let's see what happens over the next 4 to 6 months during this IPO process of what they come up with. Right? What's the next innovation that they have?
Yeah, and it's a really. This is one point, Shadi. It's really important to have a clean character as you're building, because I know some people said it's a hit piece, but a person can't write a hit piece on you if you're not doing diabolical things behind the scenes. Like you said, you lost some of your greatest talent. That you can argue with Google's DeepMind, they were kind of throttled, and the world may not have been ready for some of the things they were putting out. People are leaving OpenAI at a very fast rate because of culture concerns, and some have even called him a sociopath. Like, for the New York Times to write a piece, I recommend it in Stock Club, Empire of AI. It's an entire book that's breaking down him almost being a quote unquote psychopath, allegedly. That's never good. You have to make sure that your character is clean, because whatever character traits you have, they're going to end up bleeding into your company. Go ahead, Rashad. My apologies.
No, it's all good. Okay, market valuation warning.
Can we have this talk? Can we pull up the mic real quick? This valuation chart real quick. We can do Buffett indicator. Yep. Okay. So I get it. The Buffett indicator, this is one of my favorite sites. I've talked about it at every presentation that I've done, but you can go to currentmarketvaluation.com. This is at one of the highest levels we've ever been in history. I get it. The valuations are at some of the highest levels they've ever been. And debt to GDP is at the highest that it's ever been. But for everyone who keeps saying that this is the same as 1999, the two things I need you to remember. A, you have to put capital somewhere, or interest is going to eat the dollar. And B, we've never seen a class of companies be so great at one time. Take away Nvidia, take away AMD, cool. Even if you just look at the growth of Dell, we could talk about IBM later, Snowflake, ServiceNow, Google. If you think about it, Apple is a laggard in the tech space because they didn't innovate quick enough on AI. If you go through the top 25 or 30 companies in tech, I think some of these valuations not only are warranted, but they've been earned by earnings. And I know Michael Burry has the other take that the numbers are fake. Just because they're offloading the debt and putting them into another company, which is a common strategy even for millionaires and billionaires, it doesn't mean that they are inflating the numbers or lying or they're committing a fraudulent scheme. So even though we are at one of the highest levels ever, and I think there will be a correction some point in 2027, I can argue for the first time in history, I really think that these companies are the greatest class of tech companies we've ever had, and that this hype of it being just like 99 is overblown. I know the Knicks went to the finals in 1999, and after that a crash came. That doesn't matter. It's a different scenario, different debt to GDP structure, different Fed chair, global economy was dramatically different. I remember in 99 at Bishop Knoll, there wasn't as much globalization in the world. Gateway and Compaq was battling for market share, and those companies weren't worth what some of these smaller companies were. So I just think it's overhyped. And more importantly, back to the top of show, what I talked about, just because the current market valuation is the highest it's ever been, it doesn't mean that people are going to stop spending less, especially on the institutional side, into the companies that run the world. Please hold for the long term.
Please hold for the long term. There was a great article with the CEO of SoftBank. I don't even want to mispronounce his name. Masayoshi Son.
Yep,
that was pretty good. All right. He said
you did great.
He said that the AI revolution is 50 times bigger than the .com bubble. 50 times.
And
this is somebody that
was
investing inside of that space at the time, and says that this is going to be 50 times bigger than that. And so you are going to see charts that look off, like hyper concentrated, super inflated. But the time we're in, the technological advance, this revolution that we're in, I expect to see more of that. I wouldn't even expect to see less. When we talk about liquidity, when we're talking about, again, not only are the greatest companies thriving, the Nvidias of the world, the Googles of the world, the Microsofts of the world, but we have 3 companies that are going to IPO at over nearly $1 trillion, right? So we're going from 13 companies that are $1 trillion company market caps to potentially 15 to 16 before 2027, right? That hold up period, and I think that post is great. We posted on the page where people who are inside the SpaceX IPO, there's going to be 400 millionaires and countless millionaires. When that hold up period hits, right, whatever that's 6 months or it's 90 days, whatever it may be inside of their paperwork, that capital is going to go somewhere.
It's going to go right back into the market.
It's going somewhere. Now, that's just for SpaceX. Right? What happens when it's Anthropic's turn? What happens when it's OpenAI's turn? What happens when it's Databricks' turn? Like that we're talking about trillions now. We're not even in the billions anymore. We're talking about trillions of liquidity that is now going to be out there potentially to come back in the market. We'll see. But it'll be an interesting time. So the numbers, yes, when we look at, you know, how far we've come and obviously debt to GDP is high. Yes, very aware of those things. I don't want people to be super fearful, right? To the point where they're like, I'm not getting into this market, is running too hot. I don't even know what's happening right now. What's happening is we're in the midst of a revolution that is still in the very beginning.
Think about this.
That's what we got to realize.
Canva's value, Canva. I was talking to Nikki, shout out to Nikki Saunders, about this before we got on. Canva's valued at $42 billion because of the lift in AI. This is not a bubble. Are there some companies who rebranded themselves as AI and they're not, and their token spend is too high and you're going through budgets? That's true for some companies, but this is like the Western Conference of 5 or 6 years ago, where it's so stacked that there's so many quality companies, it's almost hard to pick from. Think about when we did our first interview in the living room. It was easily 2 or 3 companies that were the most dominant in tech. Now you have 20 to pick from. Like it's almost, there's too much choice, too much quality choice to even pick from right now in the tech space, opposed to 6 years ago, it was 3 clear winners to invest in.
Yeah, I think the best way it has been laid out is kind of like what Jensen has said. If you look at the story very clearly as a layered piece, right? Like, okay, we have the GPUs and the compute. We need the energy. We need the infrastructure. We need the applications. We need the software. Find the pieces inside there. Like there's great maps that will tell you. It's almost like the dartboard. All right, where are we going to next? Okay, I can see it. Auto design is part of it. Go look at what Cadence did. If you were watching Jensen last night, who do he keep talking about, right? Cadence kept coming up. Synopsys kept coming up. ServiceNow kept coming up. That tells you, okay, when they're talking about the future, and he's talking about, he was talking about 10 years from now in terms of technology. He's talking about these companies because they're going to be part of that story. Stay invested.
Stay
my friend.
in for the long term, please. Get your tickets to InvestFest.
Please.
Get your tickets to InvestFest and make sure that you do invest. Invest in yourself, first and foremost.
Facts.
Next buying opportunity?
As I talked about at the top of the show, I think June is a tremendous time. June, July, and August is going to be great. Everyone put in chat, I am going to allocate money every month into the market. I know some of you are new, and I know some of you may have been here for a while, may need a refresher. But the first thing that you have to invest in and pay every month is what you're going to buy into the market. Not only is it the dollar is going down, and then also too, there aren't as many other opportunities to get this kind of return. Like even on the indexes, people are now getting 20 and 30% long-term on the index like it's nothing. It's one of the greatest buying opportunities I've ever seen. And I remember when we started to show them before, I had to even push people to buy indexes. Now it's like, well, I got 25% for the year I failed. I'm like, what? You're winning. So the buying opportunity is definitely going to be this month. I'll give prices out later for a couple of stocks for sure. But as we talked about, even in the last segment, I don't want you to be so afraid with hearing these things, because also in the media, hearing that the valuation is the highest level ever, that's to sell advertising. That's not to sell you investment advice. Like most people who will tell you that the valuations are higher than ever, they also won't tell you that you're going to miss out on 1,500% over the next 3 or 4 years if you're not investing into the market. So I'll give some prices tonight, but stay deploying capital, and more importantly, have it automated. The one thing that I'm noticing with the millionaires in Red Panda, kudos to all of you, they have a certain amount allocated no matter what happens. Like from 2022 or 2021, they cycled the money in at some of those deepest drops, and as a result, a year later it paid off, or 2 years later it paid off incredibly well. So stay invested for the long term.
Biggest trading lesson?
This is really good. Write this down. The most important indicator is mastery of risk to reward. Secondly, number of trades per year. So even though the market is hotter now, it doesn't mean you should take more trades. You need to upscale how many targets you're going after, or how big your targets are for your risk to reward ratio. And then thirdly, you have to always get the direction right. I'm seeing a lot of people be upset that they missed out on certain things. And I'm sure, Troy and Rashad, you get this too. They're like, well, I didn't think Microsoft was going to be of any value anymore, so I'll start shorting it. Why? If the 5 or 10 year direction of Microsoft, Nvidia, any company is up, why are you looking to do puts or short the market when you should be using those buying opportunities to be able to get in long term? But in this market with Trump, and I've told everyone in Red Panda this, adjust your risk to reward. You should be risking 1 to make 15 or risking 1 to make 20, because the biggest mistake you're going to make in this era is having too short of a target. And we were talking about it before. Well, you may not think that, okay, these runs could happen. Well, he gave you this kind of volatility last time he was president. So risk to reward is more important, is the most important indicator. Know your number of trades per year, and I'm begging you, do not scalp your way or go for short targets in this administration, because you're going to leave thousands of percentage points on the table.
Yeah, I would say don't fall asleep at the wheel. And I'm speaking because I've actually experienced that, meaning that I've invested in companies. Obviously, I've done options that I've put long-term leaps on, and I've had one call and it's gone out and it's done incredibly well. And I didn't have any other calls, right? So like, for example, I'll buy a call that goes out to 2028 and I'm like, hey, it's growing and this is great. And like, we got time, and I never get another call. And it just keeps running. And I'm saying to myself, well, you have shares of the company, so there goes the foundation. You have the long-term call, so you believe in it long-term, and you're going to get some money, some wins on the appreciation of that when the company grows. But like on that way up, like there's an opportunity there as well. And so my idea of falling asleep at the wheel is like, if you believe in the company and you have the leverage of having shares and you have a long-term call out there, is there opportunities that are not 2 years out? Maybe you're getting a call that's a year and a half. Maybe you're getting a call that's a year. Maybe you're doing 6 months as you get more leverage. And so that has changed for me over the past, I would say, a year or so, where I started looking at like, wait, have I just been falling asleep at the wheel, making good investments in strong companies out for the long term and just ignoring it as it grows? So that was a deep lesson for me that I had to say, okay, wait, Micron, perfect example, is when I started changing the idea. Like, we've been in it since 120, and I'm like, okay, here it is at 300. Are we just going to watch it keep growing? Right? It's at 400. Are you going to watch it keep growing? You have shares. You have the 28 call. Are you going to win in the intermediate? Are there opportunities for you? And that it has panned out. And obviously, a lot of people have seen some of the stories that I've been posting. That's because, to myself, I'm thinking, are you falling asleep at the wheel? The company's growing. You believed in it. That's why you were early. All right, well, let's continue the story. This is how you stack. So yeah, don't fall asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, and I'll say this in closing. Even for me personally, and I've said this in Red Panda, 4X, whatever your targets are. Like, for us personally, our short target in the last stock club call, I was like, what it is now, 4X that target. Because like you said, you can get comfortable in almost having, let's say, being invested in the equity long term, and let's say having a big target, but just because you hit a big dollar amount doesn't mean you didn't leave a bunch on the table. And I was seeing a bunch of people being like, well, I made $3,000 or $10,000 a day. And I'm like, but you could have made 40. You could have made 60. So given the administration, I think is really key. You have to adjust based on, so when Biden was in office, we went back to compressed volatility. So we went to a smaller target. With him being back in office, you have to 4X your target for what you're going for now when you're trading.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the word of the night. Be comfortable with adjusting.
Yep.
Let's talk about ARM. We have posted that. I know that's been a lot of attention about that. So ARM has had a stellar couple of weeks. You know, you had the stock call. Well, not stock call. You had the options call 2 weeks ago at EY University. And you talked about that. So, and that option is up 300%. But break down not just the option, but like ARM, as far as what is ARM for people that don't even know what it is. Why has it been running? Like, and why is it, the hot stock of the moment?
Yeah. So shout out to everybody that's in it. I call it the army, the ARM army now.
That's fire.
Really, a lot of people in that. So shout out to everybody, number one, that pulled up to the class and executed on that. Some people did a lot better than I'm doing, which is I love, because I'm like, all right, they went shorter term. But I speak on it a lot. A lot of times you'll do research on companies, and then every now and then you'll get validated with that research. And so, when we had the opportunity to go to Nvidia in April, doing research on the semiconductor space, understanding where ARM is, I remember we were sitting there and they were asking questions. And one of the things that was prompted was, all right, who makes our memory? Who's doing the motherboard? Here's our GPU. This is what it looks like. Oh, this is ARM. They're the architecture for this. And I was like, oh, okay, here comes the validation. And so I want you to think of it in terms of Nvidia will take them as a company, right? They design. ARM manufactures. Now, because they manufacture or create architect, I shouldn't say manufacture, TSM does that. Because they architect the design, they're able to do that almost for any company, right? So when we're talking about the AI revolution, ARM really doesn't have a CapEx, right? They're actually building architecture for Nvidia. They're building it for Apple. They're building it for Qualcomm. And pretty much, a lot of the semiconductor space. The part that makes them so attractive is that they charge royalties. And we know royalties, like when we listen to music, right? Like, how did you get your royalty check? Meaning, how much did you make off of each album sold? So think of it like that. ARM is making royalties off of each chip that is sold. So imagine if they're making the architecture for Blackwell, if they're making it for Vera Rubin, if they're going to make it for Feynman in the future. That's millions of chips that, number one, they're going to get money off of for creating the architecture. But then number two, they're going to get royalties on top of each cell. And so I'm like, wow, this sounds like
it's a brilliant model, bro.
You should definitely have in the portfolio for a couple of reasons. Now, when they reported they had a blowout quarter, but the royalty rate got a little bit underperformed what people thought. But that doesn't mean it's not going to keep continue to growing because, again, look at their partners. Think about this. If we got design, we got architecture, and what does that architecture actually do? Well, that actually creates the language for that GPU, right? So the language and the rule book of how that GPU is going to perform, that's ARM's responsibility. So they can build, Apple can use them for architecture to build their M series chip. Nvidia is going to use them for their number one GPU. But the best part is that they're also now doing it for the CPU. Why is that important? On Friday at 3:23, right? When we want to talk about a run sometimes. So we invested in that 2 weeks ago based on that story. The CPU story is a very interesting one because ARM's architecture is all over in AMD. And it's inside of the story. 3:23 on Friday, Nvidia says we're about to change the face of PC. The next era is upon us, right? Microsoft does a simultaneous tweet. ARM does the simultaneous tweet, which means partnership is on the horizon. Last night, if you watched, Jensen said the next evolution of the PC is here. Who's the architecture? ARM. Who's the main? It's going to be Microsoft. Who's the compute inside? It's Nvidia. Think about that in terms of AI now not just being an application, but actually being the hardware that you're now going to buy. It's going to change. And the vision of how they're looking at it is, okay, the same way that everybody had a personal computer in the 90s and early 2000s, that was great. And you use that for certain functions. Going forward, they're going to look at personal compute as the engine that now powers your household, right? So your agentic AI will be running from a central station that is your CPU. Completely different look at how the revenue is going to grow, but a definite one look into the future of AI and how ARM is going to play a role. And so we were in this at 2:30. I mean, I've got it and it actually fell down the next day after earnings. We've been seeing the story build. The CPU starts to build. The GPU story has already been here. ARM's at the centerpiece of it. So that's why we added it to portfolio, and it's been going absolutely insane. How's it treating you?
Good.
Shotty, come on. Listen, you got ARM, man. I know you're on your demure cool vibes, but
man said good.
Boy said good.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that's in Are we in it long term? Yes. So this would be a prime example. We go out further on a leap, right? So now we're out to, I believe, June of 17, which gives us, from a tax standpoint, this is now long-term capital gains because we bought it in May, so that gives us over a year and a day. Now, as we watch it grow, right, people keep asking, when do I stack? When do I stack? Well, there's a couple of thresholds. I'm looking at a pretty good appreciation. So if we got into 230 close, has it passed 330, which would be $100? Well, it's done that. It got there pretty fast. Does it get to 430? So let's watch where it moves over the next couple of weeks. We might be able to stack here, but this is what I'm saying. Hey, number one, do we have a long-term? Do we have shares? Number one, do we have a long-term leap? Can we win in between? And that's how we're building this out. So we go out further first, and then we try to figure out the rest after. How are we going to stack?
Really important, the power of partnership. So those who know, Apple had an integral part in the formation of ARM early. So look at them missing out there.
Yes.
But like you said, Microsoft partnering. So when I'm beating up on Apple and I'm like, hey, you missed out. The company that is benefiting greatly from this AI wave, they helped invent, and Apple's not benefiting from it, but Microsoft is. Nvidia is working together. ARM is working together. My favorite metric, though, is profit margin. Even though some say that they disappointed, the profit margin reportedly is as high as 97%. That's a company long-term you can't bet against. Like, to be honest, 55 to 60 is amazing. 97 or 92% is absolutely blockbuster.
Yeah.
So I like it long-term, like it short-term. And I love that all the greatest companies on earth are finding ways to work together. And like you said, the personal computer is transforming from just a personal computer to the start, I think, of an agentic revolution on the consumer side, which gives Nvidia, Microsoft, ARM, AMD a technological moat that no one will be able to break down for at least a 10-year period.
Yeah. So the one roadblock, I know there was an article like, here's the thing that can stop ARM, is photonics, in a sense that if silicon is what we're using now, and obviously that's what they're using to create architecture, what happens when silicon is not the thing anymore? And the easy answer is that we're nowhere near there. That's like 5 to 8 years where it's fully photonics, and that's what everybody's using. And even when that does get here, we've been waiting for that story, right? That's why we talk about momentum. That's why we talk about coherent. That's why we talk about Fabrinet. We know that story's coming. So we're going to be invested in that story. Right now, this story is going to be here for a while, and their prime position, like you said, the revenue is one thing. The royalty thing, I was just like, all right.
Yeah, blown away.
I haven't seen that, and I love it. I think the other interesting part, and you brought it up, is that imagine if Nvidia would have had Apple as a partner instead of Microsoft. What do you think the landscape would have looked like if it was ARM, Apple, and Nvidia, and this is the new compute?
And this is the inference and inflection point?
Can you imagine?
Well, go ahead. Ian.
No, go ahead.
No, now I'm gonna make a point, but I'll let you finish.
But even despite them having all of these misses, they hit an all-time high of 315. So I think Apple would have probably been at 550, but the ecosystem is so powerful and profit margin is so strong. Even misstepping on Siri, not making it a better version of whatever agentic software you like, the partnership with ARM, the missteps with Nvidia, they still hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so explain exactly what happened at Nvidia. What he said.
What Jensen said?
No. When we went to Nvidia.
Oh,
Rambo.
So I didn't want to say his name.
Shout out to Rambo. And really quick before you go, how much he emphasized it. That's what I was listening for.
Yeah.
How excited
we were in two different groups, right? And so in between groups, I have conversations with him just to pick his brain, try to again get validation on the research that I'm looking at. So as he's asking questions, the first thing he talks about is what GPU are we using and who's manufacturing, and everybody got TSM. And then when he talked about memory, everybody was on board, right? That story is pretty flushed out in a detailed manner. It was Micron, it got it. And then when he talked about the architecture, he said, "Oh, this is ARM. If it's not in your portfolio, it needs to be."
Yep.
Okay, right. And so when somebody asks in terms of with all the demand, can you guys keep up with the manufacturing? Well, he said, well, that's why we have partners like TSM and Amcor, right? Because whatever they've partnered with them to help offset some of this demand. And so it's no coincidence that in the May class, the two companies I'm talking about are Amcor and ARM. Why? I've heard it. I've done the research. I just got validated again. All right, let me share this.
So to give full context here, we had a deal for Black Friday, and part of the deal was anybody that purchased the bundle, we took a group trip to Nvidia, two cohorts. We took 50 people the first time, 50 people the second time, and we took them to Nvidia headquarters in Silicon Valley. They spent the day at Nvidia. They got panel discussion from Nvidia's team. We took a tour. We got educated on the GPUs and their technology, the whole 9 yards. So in the cohort group, one of the key people at Nvidia, he said, long story short, he said that if you don't have ARM, you probably should look at getting ARM in your portfolio, and he explained why. And now, so I say, why do I say that? Sometimes the relationship will take you further than information or talent. You don't have to be. Sometimes you could just be at the right place and be provided information. It has nothing to do with what school you went to. It has nothing to do with how talented you are. It has nothing to do with anything. Cultivating relationships and making sure you're around the places that you need to be, and you listen, and then of course you take action off of listening. Because if you gain the information and you don't do anything, it's just entertainment. But if you actually do something with it, that's important. So why do I say that again? relationships. Get in the right door. Make sure you stay close to people that know what they're talking about. Vitally important. You could watch 1,000. You could watch 1,000 hours of
YouTube University. Yep.
Relationships.
And if I can say this,
no, go ahead, Ian. I'll go after.
When people are speaking, saying with no regrets, listen to the passion in which they speak. The thing that caught my attention when he brought that up, the time before, he never emphatically said anything. Then when we finally see him again the second time, almost with the same love that he has for Nvidia, it's like that this is, and one of the ones he spoke down upon, I won't speak on that, but the one he emphatically spoke on was this one. You have to be mindful of when people are inside of a ecosystem who knows how vitally important something is, to take heed to it and then follow up and invest in it.
Yeah,
go ahead, Troy.
I was just going to add that it's important to have the prior knowledge too, right? Because 100 people went and maybe more people heard, but how many people were aware of what he was even saying to execute on it? And so that's why it's important to really like understand the story. That's why I keep reiterating the word story, because it's important. Understanding that story, and when you hear it, okay, I got it. Now, how do we know about ARM? Like you said, Apple. But if you go back in the research of Nvidia, they once upon a time tried to acquire the entire company.
Yes.
Right? I think this is like in 2022 or 2021. They tried to. They actually had to. I think the government had to step. SEC stepped in and said, "No,
they blocked it.
You cannot do this. You cannot do this." Can you imagine? They actually were able to acquire the entire company. And so that's the first time I become familiar with the company. When I hear him say it, I'm like, oh, we got to go do the research, figure out the research, right? But that validation was needed. Sometimes you're in the lab, like he knows now. I text him like every morning now, like 6:30. When you're in the lab and it's just you and you're trying to figure out, oh, I need something. What is it? Here's a piece. Oh, there it is. Validated. Perfect. Let's go act on it. Having the knowledge, but acting on it is so important.
You can get rich from relationships.
Yeah,
big facts.
Shout out to everybody that keeps putting Drum in the chat. Yes, Drum. Yes, there it is. We said it. Yes.
But the thing also is that the biggest hurdle from getting rich from relationships is just not being an idiot either. No, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Land the plane.
It goes back to the Ronald Wayne Apple. You misstepped and left the Holy Trinity. For sure. You did.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody wanted to be Pablo Escobar, but Gustavo had cash. Like, you don't always got to be the number one person. You don't got to be the superstar. You don't always have to be the most intelligent person in every single thing. You don't always have to try to do things your own way. Sometimes in life, you can get rich by accident, but the hardest thing is to get out of your own way. That sounds easy, but it's actually extremely difficult for most people. Most people are in their own way.
Any examples that come to mind that could illustrate the point to the audience?
No, I mean, you see it happen all the time. You see it happen in sports.
Troy, you
see it happen in sports.
Okay, y'all spoke at Harvard, right?
I'm here in the co-pilot.
How many sports players did you see that was playing with a great player and left because they thought it would have been better?
I do shit them all.
You're just not going to leave Kyrie out of this, man.
It's not just Kyrie.
I know, but that's how you know you think.
Shout out to my guy. Love you forever.
Shaq's a legend. He's actually the greatest of all time when it comes to a center, and he made a mistake. That was pride and ego. Like, like there's no reason why him and Kobe shouldn't have won 6 championships together. It was a workable model. It was working. It's working. Yeah. Why you want to break that up? And then he gets one, but what would he have done if he would have stayed with Kobe?
Or Penny.
Shout out to
I think the Lakers situation, they actually traded him. The Orlando situation, he actually wanted to leave. He signed as a
But
free
they
agent.
trade him because of the
But
turmoil.
he forced the
Yeah,
trade.
they looking at it like we got to choose between one of the
And
two.
it was
We
on
choosing
Kobe
him.
too, and rest in peace.
Exactly,
But
rest in peace.
Kobe
Yeah.
didn't want that to happen either.
Yeah.
Bottom line is this.
Yeah.
Cultivating a relationship is just one part of it.
Yeah.
Maintaining a relationship is another part of it. And the easiest way to maintain is just chill out. Sometimes you could just get rich. Like I said, you don't got to be super lit. You don't got to be well known. You don't got to be the voice. You don't got to be the face of it. There's countless people, and Nvidia is another thing. We went to Nvidia. We saw the co-founder of Nvidia that nobody knew ever.
You have no clue.
And he's a billionaire. Does he have more money than Jensen? No. But he's up.
Yeah, super up. And also too, I'll say this. In order to get out of your own way, you need to heal some of those childhood traumas and wounds that you have from and abandonment issues that you have from the parents. Because often I see when people have constant tumult, the rooting of it is in that childhood. So you need to do some of that shadow work in order to get to that next level to be able to be peaceful enough. Also, too, if you need a big brother to be able to guide you through how to make millions in the market, go to ianinvest.com and join a Red Panda stock fund. Mike, can you pull up this Fidelity clip? I know some of you be like, yo, you talk about us as millionaires now, but
the shadow work.
Got to do it. In just a couple of years, this person is up 300,000. Let me get some pandas in chat and fire in chat. Just because they did it, it does not mean that you are guaranteed to do it. But if you want to know where to get in, where to get out, the best companies to invest in, the ones to stay away from, all of my thoughts on the market, how to get rich, and my blueprint for becoming free, go to ianinvest.com. I love you. But you got to do that shadow work and get out of your own way. Because if Nvidia, think of the companies that are not working together, the liabilities list for OpenAI, even though they're still going to be $1 trillion company, I can argue if Sam doesn't get out of the way and doesn't become chairman, he's going to fall to the wayside because he's not even going to get the government contracts that Anthropic is going to have. Like, look at this. Dario go and say, AI is going to destroy every job on Earth, and then go right to the government and say, hey, but I have a solution for you. Let me fix it. And he gets the contract. A lot of building wealth and perpetuity is having good relationships, like you said, and having peace inside of those relationships. So you got to do that work before you can ascend to the highest level. And Rashad, you guys were spoke at Harvard. The case study method is very important to learning. So if there's any case studies of misalignment in friendship that you want to highlight tonight, the floor is yours, my brother.
No, it happens all the time. Like I said, it's a personal battle that everybody fights. Everybody got to. My new shit is shut up and get rich. Trademark that. I gotta call Amy because that's important. Sometimes people want to prove that they have enough information, enough knowledge, enough wherewithal, with whatever. Like some of the most successful people in the world, their mantra is to shut up and be rich. Just shut up. Like you don't gotta prove it. Like, would you rather be rich or would you rather be proven?
A lot of people would rather be proven, unfortunately.
Take the idea.
It's a mistake, bro.
Give the credit away. It don't even matter. Just give me the money. What Jay-Z say, save all the accolades. Just the dough. He said that in 98. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you the blueprint in 98. Save all the accolades, just the dough. That's it. But I do want to say this because I just found this out. You know, if you have a bank account and it's dormant for 2 years, it becomes deactivated, and depending on your state, but in New York State, after that, I think it's like a period of like 18 months, it goes to the state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You knew that?
Slush fund. You got to check every.
No, but even if you're still alive,
for sure. If you're not active in it, for sure. Mm-hmm. No deposit for it.
No matter how much
money.
How much
money. Mm-hmm. So God forbid something.
This happened to me today. Mm-hmm. So I have a bank account. I have a lot of bank accounts. So I have one bank account that I opened a few years ago that I never used, but I needed to use it today. So I was on the phone and I'm looking at my account and I don't see it. So I go into Chase and I'm like, yo, I don't see my account. What's going on? They're like, oh, you haven't used it in 2 years, so it's deactivated. I'm like, how you? I'm like, there's money inside of it. They're like, yeah. I'm like, but it's deactivated. I'm like, okay, how you just deactivated an account with money? I'm living. They're like, well, you haven't done anything with it. I'm like, I have money inside of it. What do you mean? So then they're like, all right. So then they was telling me like, look, good thing you came, because if it would have went like another year and a half, 2 years, then it would have went to the state. I'm like, so my money would have just went to the state. They're like, yeah, and then you would have had to try to fight the state to get it back. So
the unclaimed funds play.
Yep.
Yeah.
I keep telling you, as you ascend up the ladder of wealth, they got 1,000 ways to take the money from you. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Yep.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful of of the AI and crypto trying to hack into accounts.
But then also you got to be careful too, because it's like me, I haven't even thought about this account, but I remembered it because I don't do drugs, so I have a great memory. But what if I was?
Where'd that come from?
Some people do drugs,
sober mind.
So yeah,
stay sober.
Does help.
I don't do drugs, so I have a great memory. But if, let's say, I did have a bad memory, or I was elder, right? I might have just forgot about the account, and then when I go to look at my accounts, I don't see it. That could happen. That could actually happen. And then what? And then my money is just gone, not because I gave it away, because I forgot that I had the account, because I'm thinking that I'm looking and what I see is what is actually there. I'm not looking to not see something and then think, what happened to this account that I opened up 2 years ago?
You got to deploy the capital. Even in that, they won't let you just have a Scrooge McDuck vault you have to deploy the capital to be able to even keep it.
They're gonna put it somewhere.
Right, for sure.
Put it back in the
An
market.
endless loop, for sure. Just do what
I'm
every bank is doing, every municipal. You have to have that money flowing. And also, too, it's a great lesson that money is currency. It has to constantly flow. It has to constantly flow somewhere. So I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad you're able to catch it, though.
Yeah, check on your grandparents' accounts.
For sure.
Yeah. That's another way. That's another way to get you.
Does it go to unclaimed funds for the state? Because you see those people, they type in their Social Security, then it's like, oh, you have unclaimed funds. It probably goes on there based on the Social Security.
And allegedly,
slush fund. Yeah, it just goes to
even
the state.
on a transfer. There's a management fee, allegedly, that you won't get the full balance back even after you claim it back.
But how you just deactivate an account? That's crazy.
Did they reactivate it?
Yeah, they reactivated it because I was there. But I mean, they was like, oh, the account is deactivated. What? I never even knew you could. I didn't know you could deactivate a bank account that has money inside of it. Like the money is there. It's not like it was. I could see if there was no money, then that would make sense. There's money inside of the bank account. Like, or send me if you're going to deactivate it, send me a check and say your bank account has been deactivated. Here's, the money that's inside of your account. That would make sense also. Don't deactivate it and still keep the money.
This is the other play too. If you say something that is deemed not safe or terroristic to a certain group, they'll debank you and keep all your money.
That happened to a few
and brokerage, a few people. That's why some of you be like, yo, why don't you wake it up on bro, they'll close your account. Keep the money in a brokerage, and now you can't even open up another account.
Yeah, and to the question, no, they did not. That's another thing. They didn't even give me a notice. They didn't give me any information. I'm in the bank every day. I'm in the bank all the time. I'm a private banker. I actually have a personal person. I have a personal person. I'm a private client. I'm a private client. They didn't even tell me. They see me every day. They see me at least once a week. I'm in the bank at least once a week.
The man said, I got a personal person.
I do. I have a person. They haven't even told me. Like I'm in the bank once a week.
Sure, yeah. And also too, it's a great lesson into going back to the conversations we had about Floyd and no power of attorney. Make sure you're checking on the stuff with your company, because people are finding ways to take companies from underneath people. And then once you lose that in a business account, finito. finito. You got to be able to stay on top of your stuff. I'm glad you're able, but like you said, the elder and that and the reverse mortgage and the power of attorney, tough.
Deed theft.
Deed theft.
That's real.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yep.
All right, Trump market impact.
I got a question today. Can you give me the outlook for the next 2 years for how Trump is going to affect the market? And he's going to affect it how he always has. There's going to be endless conflict, but there's going to be endless opportunity and endless volatility. You got to take advantage of it. I won't cast any aspersions on the companies that he's mentioned because some of them I like prior to him mentioning them. But this question is a good one if you're a beginner, but if you've been with me for a while, your investment plan has to outrun any administration.
Mhm.
This is a 2-year question. I want you to have 10-year questions. So it doesn't matter short term what he's going to do, because the companies that are great are going to continue to be great, and they're going to find a way to innovate or do business with the government to make sure that they are safe. But what I will say for your advantage, he's going to give you some of the greatest moments and greatest volatility on earth to be able to set yourself up for generational wealth. So please take advantage of it and continue to hold for the long term.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of it. I think I look at him as another one of those validation moments, because it's not about being in the company after he says it. It's about understanding the position that he's putting people in and maximizing it then. So if you look back to the inauguration, and we spoke about this here on Market Mondays, had a bunch of classes about it. Who was in that Oval Office with him? Larry Ellison was there, representing Oracle. Sam Altman was there, representing obviously OpenAI. And Masatoshi Son was there representing SoftBank, right? What came from that? Stargate. Oracle obviously went on a run. Perfect. All right, well, here comes another opportunity. TikTok comes up for sale. We knew that from the beginning. Who were the people that would be in place? You've come to find out that they've been the cloud service for them already. Who gave them the ability to be in the cloud service? The last Trump administration. So it's about being in the story before he starts talking about it. If you look at Dell, look at the partnerships that they had. They started making government partnerships, and then they partnered with Nvidia last year, right? So it's no surprise that he says it this year, and then people think, oh, he's saying it this year, so it must run. Synopsys, Cadence, Google, Nvidia, all these are in his portfolio that they just reached from his S1s. But you've heard these stories already because you understand the AI story. He's getting into those positions because he's understanding it at a different level, but he's taking action on information that he's sometimes causing, but a lot of times is given. And so we got to do the same. We have to participate in it. We have to look at opportunity for what it is. Is there opportunity in this space? If it's automation design, we have to do it. If it's compute, if it's infrastructure, if it's energy, we have to do it. The fact that he says the companies, like he said IBM, but that was an old video. IBM returned back to its 52-week high, right? So it ran to 313, went on a dip, and now it's back to 313. Why? Well, he said it, but quantum computing, they just said that they're gonna allocate $2 billion to that story. IBM is going to be part of it. It's not the story as of right now, but long term, we'll probably get to that point. But the fact that they invested to it, so we've already seen these things. We got to make sure that we're participating early. And so by the time he says it, it's a late validation, and we've already been here.
And for the person who may ask, what's the difference in this take on IBM versus another? IBM was invested into AI and quantum with Watson 13 or 14 years ago. They've been waiting for this thesis to come alive. They already are a great company. Without his involvement, it does help the stock tremendously. But make sure you're picking companies that are quality without him having to endorse them for them to go up.
He says Micron is going to be a great company. Well, Micron's already at $930 when he says it. Right? Like if we've been invested in it since it was $87, some people $100. We already knew that. Thanks for the validation. Let's let it run up a little bit more. We were already here.
Well, God bless America.
Yes.
And I feel like Trump, he's an interesting guy. He is kind of the people's president when it comes to the stock market, because all of these people have had these conversations with CEOs and all of that since the beginning of time, but he's so visible. He's so visible with it, and he tweets everything, and he has no filter. He's actually very useful, because not just from a standpoint of telling you what to buy, but I mean, he's showing you the direction that the country is going in. He's telling you, like, this is what we're going to be invested in. These are the CEOs that I'm rocking with. This is the CEOs that I don't like. He's been a very helpful president when it comes to stock market investing. You don't think so, Ian?
Let me try, Rashad.
He's transparent. He's transparent. He's very transparent.
He's also been transparent about the devout racism, and also too, if you take
that's true.
That's already been established. If racism was a deciding factor, we wouldn't even live in this country.
That's true.
That's
can I land?
But
yeah, land. Let me go.
Okay, if we're speaking solely economically, he criticized Obama's plan, but then you spend 5x to repair a disaster. So, and also one of the reasons that the debt to GDP is the highest that it's ever been was his misstep in COVID and his misstep now.
But let's grade it on.
Are you talking economy or market?
Yeah, exactly. Let's grade it on a few different things. First of all, he's probably the most harmful president for Black people in modern history. He's very modern history, because there was slavery.
You can argue that MAGA,
he ain't go that far.
He ain't go that far, but he's second. So S tier then A tier. He's definitely
there's about 13 of them that actually had slaves.
He probably would have had allegedly.
Hold on. We can't. Hold on.
In modern history, he's very dangerous. He's made plenty of mistakes. War.
MAGA's bigger than a clan.
No, but let's just talk about
than the clan.
The market or the economy.
Let's just talk about this. The stock market and the economy.
Okay, let's talk about stock. I'm with you, my brother. Come on.
Let's take the emotions out of it. He's giving you opportunities. He's giving us opportunities.
Can I land it? Because I want to go there.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Troy. Now I'll follow up.
And that's why I think it's important that we speak economy or market.
No, I said market.
I know what you said. And here's what I will say. The thesis of this AI story, he plays a role in it, but it's not just him, right? So if we look at Biden's administration, we get the infrastructure bill, we get the AI bill.
Thank you.
That plays a part in it, right? But the fact, and I know MAGA is Make America Great Again, but what he's done, especially for AI, is saying, hey, and in addition to the AI bill, is that we're going to onshore to make sure that American companies are great again. And so it's not a surprise when you see Dell at an all-time high. It's not a surprise when you see Oracle run like it did. It's not a surprise when you see Nvidia, Micron, which is the American leader, Amcor, which is the American leader in packaging, Intel, AMD, all these American companies inside of technology have all had appreciation in the past 2 years. A lot of it has to do with the idea of bringing not jobs, but bringing infrastructure and bringing technology onshore, right? Even to the point where Taiwan, yes, you do lead the world in manufacturing, but again, this is Biden and Trump. We need you to have fabs here. We need you to manufacture here. We understand that even when you manufacture, you still send back to Taiwan and then bring it. We need to curtail that. How do we get more of that here? Build Texas plants. Now, when you're talking in terms of energy, even like if you look at what Europe's trying to do, they're trying to catch up to energy. China has figured some energy thing. We have to catch up, right? Our grid. So now infrastructure becomes a thing. So a Constellation Energy, a GE Vernova, these companies, the grid is going to look a lot different over the next 5 to 6 years because of AI infrastructure.
Can we not be politically? He said.
I'm saying all the things.
He said you should. He's the only president. Let's not. We're not.
No, but like
he said buy the stock market. He said buy the stock market now.
But what does that mean?
And it went up right after he said that.
But what does that mean?
He said buy the stock market now.
But what does that mean?
Like what do you mean?
That means buy. Ian,
he said
to what I'm saying in terms of
when we're not going to talk, let me know.
Right after that.
Hold on. In terms of what I'm saying, American companies, you say what?
We had a list of great fucking American companies before he took office. And
Yeah.
when people say economy or stock market, you cannot separate the two. Just because the stock market has done incredibly well, we cannot avoid the conversation about the destruction. Like, okay, I called the water thing in 2020. I didn't know that the water thing was going to be caused, that the value of water was going to go up because of the data center use. We also have to talk about the destruction that is being caused.
Okay.
And if we're going to be very honest, he's making these companies profitable to pay off allegedly the fucking favor that he owes. They're not because he just believes in the American exceptionalism and capitalism. No. You got to pay that shit off. So, an Oracle.
wait, hold on. Time out. I'm not.
Bro.
We can't discuss that here. But
okay. Okay. I'll stop there. But okay. But for everyone who believes
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. But for the Oracle push, bullshit. Intel push, bullshit. Right? There's a bunch of these that have been lifted up because one hand, you invested in me earlier to get me back in, so I'm investing you to make us eat.
Every president,
that's the game.
But
that's the game.
Not at this fucking level, and it's not insider trading. We're not doing this. If that's the case, if he's so fucking valuable, how valuable am I? We're not doing this with him.
We're not.
It's 100 times bigger than Rashad.
No, we're not. Yeah, no.
What you doing?
We're not saying more valuable. I'm saying what we've seen is unprecedented for sure. You have to agree.
It's unprecedented.
Even we know insider trading has happened for decades. The fact that it's front street, and that level of transparency is we've never seen.
We've never seen somebody rob a bank and tell you, I'm going to rob the bank. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Sometimes when you make yourself rich,
do you think most Americans are benefiting from that? I can argue most Americans are being priced out.
This is Market Mondays. We're catering to a niche audience here. We're catering to a niche audience.
Okay. If we talk Market Mondays, I don't give a fuck what Trump said because I told him how to get rich in advance. I don't give a fuck what Trump said.
Okay, but I'm saying that Trump has influence to move markets, right? So when we had blackout right after that election, and we went on a whole list of tangents of like, this is what's going to happen. Civil liberties is going to be taken away, But we also said stock market's going to go up. These are the stocks that's going to go up, And that's exactly what happened. So I think you don't have to be a good person to be good for the stock market.
But you have to weigh up the long. Okay, let's take okay. They changed the rule for SpaceX and how quickly it can be integrated into 401ks for his benefit. Why do we think that was done? And if we're going to be honest, if you go back to 2022, the average drawdown of companies that Elon is a CEO of ranges between 38 to 62% from deepest drawdowns. I don't think that's beneficial for most Americans who may be invested into the market. Rashad, I get your point. And for those of you who are MAGA-ist that are not richer than me, I want you to shut the fuck up too. Oh God, because you're wasting your whiteness. Talking
you ask why
for real.
You ask why are they doing that? I mean, we know why, right? When we look at the profitability,
that shit's illegal, yo. I'm here in Texas.
Where is it? Where the profitability is not there. We obviously know that Starlink brings in most of the revenue for SpaceX. So you figure if they don't have profitability, you got to get it into 401k. You got to get into because you're going to need vehicles that can invest at large amounts. And when that hold up period is over, there's, I mean, from all things, the way that.
But if the company is good, why you got to change the rules? If the 3-point line 22 feet, why you get the exception to make this shit 16? If you can go to orbit and mine moon rocks.
Because every now and then you got to move this. You got to move the line back a little bit. The NBA did it.
As a result of his leadership too in COVID, that's also why the most money, which affects the market, got printed, and 25% of all money that ever has touched American capitalists' hands was printed in 2020 because of his misstep. For those of you getting the comments, you just hate Trump. I've had more communication with some people in this camp than you have. Please stop talking to me. Please. Trust me, I know. On the night of the election, I called the election before NBC did.
Well, the only thing we can do
is listen to Ian.
Is get your money right. In this world that we live in, vote. That's important.
Yes. And I mean, even that they didn't rig the vote. The fucking machines and took away all voting since 2002. Them votes don't matter. Okay. So, question of the night: who's the president of the Electoral College? This is my thoughts. Ian, Red Panda LLC is not reflective on Troy, Rashad, Mike, or anyone that earned your leisure. Who's the president of the Electoral College? This is my passion talking. And for those of you who may have any comments about me, bruh, I done freed too many. Mike, we can pull up the other shit. I got some screenshots of some people who up 10 to 15 million. No packet.
We must invest.
We must
gotta invest. Invest or die.
That's it.
Get your money right. That's it. That's the only thing. That's why people watch this show, to get their money right.
Indeed.
He's also going to be the final linchpin that economically destroys. I thought the Nixon getting off the gold standard thing was bad. Ooh, boy. And they impeached him over them little fucking tapes.
Well, we gave you the blueprint. We gave you the blueprint for that. I mean, we gave you the international play. If you're interested, we already showed you that. It's like, if you're going to destroy America, then get your money right and leave America.
Bro, they put him out the White House over some Watergate tapes, which he got set up on.
Allegedly.
So here's the thing, right? So understandably, we can see how you feel about this. Do you think because if people talking about pullback crashes, corrections, I say this because in my heart of hearts, I feel like ego, stubbornness from the leadership of the country. I feel like any hint of a pullback, he's going to figure out a way to make sure that doesn't go in his jacket, right? So if we got 2 more years or 2.5 years of this, then technically that's a bullish sign, no?
Technically, but here's the thing that most people, because if you're not looking at a decade window, and Rashad, you bring this point up a lot about tech in 1999 and the dead era post-tech. In a decade window, there's a finite level in which the market can go up. So you can either get, hypothetically, $100,000 in 1 week and then be at a flat line for the rest of the decade, or you can space it out so you go through the ebbs and flows. I always have said, he's going to give you a couple years to get rich, and then when this 27, 28 turn comes as a result, you won't be able to complain, because if we have any drawdown, I gave you the returns up front in advance. But for every decade, there's a finite amount of which the market is allowed to go up.
So do it now.
Do it. So that's what I'm saying.
Like, so it's the window. The window's open.
Right? No, we got to go for it.
You have to take advantage of it. You got to play the cards that you dealt. We black. It's going to rain at all moments. Like, we can't even complain about that. We just got to play the hands that we dealt. These are the cards that we dealt. These are the cards that we dealt. And from an investment standpoint, it's not a bad deck of cards.
Yeah.
For the moment, it's not a bad deck of cards.
Does it have similarity? So we always talk about 99.
Right? Peter Thiel left to go to Argentina.
Well, but we could talk. Well, that would probably be for a Wednesday show, but there's a deeper conversation there, because he also went to a few other countries. But I'm saying this: people talk about 99 and the .com bubble, right? Because it obviously popped it in 2000. But we should talk about 92 to 98,
or 82 to 2002.
Right, because if you look at 92 to 98, when we talk about years of double-digit gains in the NASDAQ, double-digit gains in the S&P, double-digit gains in that's a 6-year period where we pretty much saw that. So I understand what you're saying, right? At some point, we will come down. I just think the ego of this leader, or quote unquote leader, I just don't see how he allows it. But I mean, it may not even be in his control anymore, right? There's a new Fed chair that might change.
It's a new Fed chair. Then why hasn't he pushed Bitcoin up? He's pro Bitcoin. And to the person who said you love the information, but the profanity bothers you, I get it. But sometimes when the house is on fire and we're in the basement next to the canisters of fuel, I have to scream, get the F out. Especially when we're fighting people who don't care anything about morality. I'm in Texas. And I've had a bunch of conversations with some super conservatives in Texas that are terrified. That's what scares me. When they come to me, hey, you do the stock thing, right? Mm-hmm. What you think about da-da-da? And they rattle off their list of questions. And I'm like, well, you voted. Yeah, but I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it's going to be the bad. Microsoft, here's my I get it. But also, too, it's my passion talking, and I'm free. So in my freedom, I'm going to speak freely. We are at a very
when they say they didn't know it was going to be this bad. What are they referring to?
Cost of living, cost of goods, the GDP, the war thing. Because even some analysts are saying, okay, even the lying about, okay, we got to deal with Iran, and then Iran says, oh, we're going to close the strait again. If prices of oil shoot up to which I don't think they'll get to 130, but if they touch 115 again and they stay sustained there for a 2 or 3 year period, that won't be great for the economy. So sometimes you can die from 1,000 cuts. Everyone keeps asking, okay, what's going to cause the crash? It's not going to be one thing. It's going to be 30 or 40 things stacked on top of each other that you can't ignore. And here's the other part. Even in the CapEx spend, there are some, let's say, mistruths that have been told about return on investment from the CapEx spend. This would have sent the market into a tailspin in 2010.
Yeah.
But now there's more ways to hide it.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think it's one thing that is the catalyst. And I don't even know. I think what we'll see is that at some point, there'll be a slowdown in the growth, the returns on the investments, right? So right now, I know it almost feels like it's unreal, right? Like you invest in a company and it moves up 200% or 100%, like it almost feels unreal. I think that is maybe in the next 3 years, we'll start to see some of that growth start to diminish. Overall, right? It won't be the callous, oh, hey, here comes the crash. It'll just be a slow
profitability. Like how it was in 2022. And then for those of you who are old enough to remember that 2000, 2001, then you had 9/11, then 2002, and then it was just slowly air leaking out of the stock market. Yeah. Even when I was having a shout to the financial conspirator, I'm not going to beat up on Michael Saylor. But even with the adoption of Bitcoin, which I said this would happen, and y'all said it wasn't going to have to cool. They are suppressing the gain of Bitcoin and driving crypto-like returns in stocks and suppressing to squeeze him out. There's just a bunch of financial engineering that I've never seen like this. And Rashad, you know this because you were an advisor at this time. Like one of these incidents in 2009 or 2010 would have sent an entire sector crashing. Now we have 12 or 13 things on top of each other and no one cares. It almost reminds me of that pre-depression era. Not saying that we're going to go there because there's more levers in place than ever to make sure that we don't get back there. But in terms of the market, there's much more financial engineering than I've ever seen.
Yeah, but there was always financial engineering. This is America. America was built on manipulation. If you look at 2008, they crashed this whole thing, and then they bailed the companies out that crashed the whole thing. I mean, we can go back. So we can go back to the Michael Milken bonds in the 80s, junk bonds in the 80s. Then there was the .com era. Then there was the prime mortgages in 2008. Then there was America's is built on this. So look, this is capitalism at the highest level possible. In America, they'll sell anything. They'll package it up and sell it. They selling air.
Literally.
Yeah, they sell air. So
Do it
They're
now.
selling you moon rights to a moon
Do
you
it
can't
now.
access.
So, yeah,
Do it now.
get your money, man. And then when the crash happens, pack up your bags and
Write us a postcard.
go to Africa. That's what I'm doing. That's my plan. What's yours? But with that being said, let's talk about the best time indicator.
Mike, can we pull the IBM chart up real quick since we talked about IBM? And I'm also working on the reduction of profane language, but that's my passion talking because I care about us. But first, the best indicator is a 10-year hold to start with. Can we get the IBM chart, Mike, if you get a moment? But from a technical side, I really like the same levels that I talked about, but I think this illustrates if we can zoom in a little bit. If you're looking at a weekly chart, your first thought has to be, where can I find a great entry? I really like my 210 moving average. So if you look at IBM, when it was sliding down, it was a smooth entry point right there. If you look underneath that white line, it literally touched that level, kissed it, and shot up. But you need to write this down, a short-term indicator for a long-term hold. I get the excitement for holding for a year or two, but my biggest fear is that I'm going to run into some of you in 2032, and you're going to tell me I held the stock for 2 years and things are not going well. Also, too, with the level of inflation, because it's a tale of two economies. Some people are doing incredibly well, but some are not. And the only way you can mitigate that risk is to be able to hold for a long period of time. So you have to hold for a 10-year period minimum, which is short term. Use the weekly chart. So I like the 72, the 210, and the 420. The 210 is a middle or sweet spot to be able to get into the market. And then from there, you're good. You don't need a bunch of indicators. The most important indicator is risk to reward ratio and time being in your favor. And from this 214 area, you should look to maybe, if you're holding for a 10-year period, if you believe in the company, believe that they're going to have impact in quantum, you need to have like a 4x return thesis from there. At InvestFest, I'll give you my breakdown to know if a company is going to go up 10x, 20x, 30x when I'm on stage Sunday. Get your tickets, get your popcorn ready. I'm going to put on the show. But you don't need a bunch of indicators. What you need is to be able to hold for a long period of time and not deviate from that plan. And the biggest thing that is stopping a lot of you from making generational wealth is that you only want to hold a company for a short period of time. You're having a fling or a one-night stand with stocks you should be marrying. This is going to be the biggest mistake that you make.
That's a fact. But sometimes you get into a marriage and that don't work out either.
The stock's better than the marriage.
One night stand.
You on pure bullshit tonight, and I would excuse my language. Sorry if I curse too much for you, but we have the president in Washington. You say nothing to him, but you said something to me because I'm black. Why?
Yo, I don't know nothing of what Shaq's talking about, man.
Hold for a long period of time. If you look at every company, like imagine if Dolan would have sold not only the Knicks, but MSG Entertainment and the publicly traded asset and the popcorn. I remember the time we went and it was Harry Styles. I'm like, Harry Styles and sold 9,000 t-shirts and it's one venue. Bro, hold for the long term. You cannot have generational wealth unless you hold for generation. It's up to you though.
Added the Sphere.
Bro, cooking.
Yeah. Right.
Only play long-term games.
Speaking of that leads right into our next topic, which is taking MU profits. And shout out to MU. MU was a one that that's been a interesting story with MU. If you've been following Micron, I'm actually in a few MU calls. One MU call, I'm up almost 3,000% now, and another MU call, I'm up almost 1,000%. So I almost have two green jackets simultaneously. Then another one, I'm up 400%.
Okay, that's better than good, my brother. I don't know what you're talking about. No, that's better than good. That's great.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Elite.
Yeah, MU have been holding one MU choice options class. When you say that last year,
2023.
Shout out to the options class, EYL University, where dreams come true.
Yeah. But that's one.
But one of the major things with this MU thing is that it has been running parabolic. That's the word that's been used a lot. Parabolic.
Rightfully so.
It's been running parabolic since your option.
Yeah, I mean, but to be cautious, it's been parabolic. But to be cautious about it, I think a lot of times they tell us a stock has run too much to get us out of it.
I think both things are true. It is run parabolic, but I think when they talk about it in the sense of it's run up, it has to pull back at some point. I think institutions put that message out to get better price points because the run is not
for sure.
Done. Right, that if that makes sense to people. But
so now the thing is, because even when I've been posting, because it was said that I actually purchased MU at the top, so I have been posting my MU journey, and the number one question that I've been getting when I've been posting it is like, so are you going to sell? Because I posted it when I was at 1,000. I think I might have. I don't know if I posted it since then, but it's at 2,700%. The other one's at 1,000. So the obvious question would be for a lot of people that have MU is, at what point does this not even become sustainable anymore as far as the growth? Or is it still price targets have been raised to 1,200? Some price targets raised to 1,600.
Yeah.
So some people think that there's still room to go this year.
Yeah.
And when it comes to MU's price. Fastest company to ever hit 1 trillion. Went from 500 billion to 1 trillion in like 48 hours.
Was it 48?
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks.
It's 48 hours.
48 hours? Damn.
Okay. Micron. So you talked about Micron last year in the options class. Yeah. So what's your strategy?
So that was one when I decided that I'm not going to fall asleep at the wheel. And so we were in the 120 call, 110 calls. Those both went over 1,000%. So it's always been the same thing. Once I get to 100%, let me take out my initial investment. This is why I buy more than 2 contracts, because if I sell one, then I still have another one to run. Obviously, I buy more than 2. Most times, 10 is the number where I'll start at. And so that would mean that I would sell 5, get my initial investment back, and let 5 run. I let those run, and then we see where it goes, right? And so now this is when the stacking comes into it. MU goes, it actually fell down to $87, and I know I was getting beat up. We even questioned, it was, Troy, are you serious about this? Do you really believe in this? And I'm like, I believe in this. I understand this story. I don't think it's going anywhere. If anybody doesn't understand when I say story, I'm talking about the AI story. It's like a series that we've been doing inside this classes, data center revolution, AI revolution. So that's what I'm talking about when I say story. And it gets back up to the 120 level, right? We run up 1,000% later on. We take profit from it. Now it's, what are my metrics going forward? Right? And that could be different for everybody. Do you look at it and say, I'm going to take profit when it gets to 200%? Do I take profit at 300%? Or do I add more legs to my stack? And I did both, right? And so I took my 100%. Now I have some reserves. If it keeps running, now I just reinvest the reserves into new calls and keep extending. Maybe I'll put this in my story tonight, but if you looked at my Micron stack, it's gone out to 2028. December. It's going out to January of 2028. It's going out to December of 27. It's going out to January of 27. It's going out to December of 26. And now what can we do in these intermediate times until December of 26? And so we've added more cores with the revenues that we've taken as each one goes over 100%, sometimes 500%. We just take profits because the most important thing is we don't want to leave everything on the table, right? Like, so if we're making money, we take profit, but we reinvest it. So that gives us more legs to stack with. So everybody's strategy is going to be different. I think the initial baseline is once you hit a threshold, get your initial investing out so you have reserves. Because if it does go higher, now you don't have to go put new money into your account. You don't have to sell anything. You have the reserves now to reallocate into the same position. It's worked well for us with Micron. I think I've got about five green jackets just on Micron in the past.
Well, there's 78 people in EY University, I believe, now that have green jackets.
It's more. We got too many today.
But a lot of those green jackets came from Micron. Shout out to everybody that got into a Micron call. And once again, there was a lot of criticism of Micron. The decision.
Yes.
The decision. Well, not a lot.
Well, I'll say this.
Not a lot.
Here's why. Here's why I say
it's
yes.
ill-advised.
It's ill-advised, and we had a private conversation like, this is going to be ill-advised. This won't go the right way. But that same call that I'm telling you about, that was down 40%. So when I bought the 120 call and it went down to 87, my threshold was 50. We had a conversation today about another company. I'm like, yo, my threshold is 50. This thing is teetering at 47. If it hits 50, I'm out. I got to be comfortable with that. That's my threshold. I'm talking about down. The same call that was down 41% ended up being a 2,000% return because we understood that, hey, all right, we can't time this thing, but we're going to be in the position. We're staying with the position. In fact, as it grows, we're going to add more to it. So you got to like have your plan before you enter any call or any share that you're going to own, any index, any ETF. Understand what you're investing in and how you're going to move when it moves.
Can I give a really quick perspective? Because I know some people are saying that these kind of returns are impossible, but one of my favorite picture shots to Yomi for taking this is when I'm going over 15-year returns for companies. It's just the stock, no trades on it. Nvidia, as of last August, was up 75,234% return since IPO. Tesla, 24,000. Amazon, 3,384. And it's only grown since then. So even though this is a parabolic move, if you're looking to hold for a long period of time, if you're going to be very honest, it's not uncommon for a stock to hit 2,000, 3,000, 4,000% return if you're holding the company, let alone if you're trading it. Know your targets before you get in. But just because something goes up 1,000%, there isn't a magical concrete ceiling that says it has to stop here and has to go down. I've always said, look at the companies that move the GDP of America, and that will give you a great indication for how well stock is going to do. And then Jensen in Taipei tells you these are GDP movers. Don't sell early. Do not sell early. I've been in Nvidia and AMD since 2016. I'm telling you, when people are telling, and I'm gonna be honest, people often tell you this is run because they don't want to see it run more in your account. Be very honest. They don't want you to see. They don't want to see you get millions from a decision that you made when they were left on a sideline and missed out. If I make your money, please put yes in chat.
We had this conversation prior to the show starting. Like, could you have seen this happening? Well, you invest in the company with the potential to have growth, right? So whether it's SanDisk, and you can go back to November, I think it's like the November 17th episode of Market Mondays, we're talking about SanDisk, and it's at $197 or $220. Do you see it at $1,760? No, but you see a growth story that has potential to continue to go. Right? If Micron is going and we understand what Micron does in terms of high bandwidth, and we understand what NAND memory is, and we understand that there's a demand for that, then you expect it to grow. Now, 4,000% in 12 months, does that happen every day? No. But guess what?
But is it common? It's very common in tech.
We've seen it happen, right? And we were early. So the key is understand the entire ecosystem, find the companies that have, I would say, a bottleneck at this point, because memory definitely is a bottleneck. And now, how can you take advantage of it, right? And so this is a sector that used to be a subsector that used to be cyclical. It's not so cyclical anymore. It's not. When we talked about memory in
it's
the
necessary.
late 90s, right? It was, hey, how many people can buy computers? Because if enough people buy personal computers, those have memory in it, and that could be something that can be a growth story. That is not the story of today's memory. Today's memory is AI, large language models, inference need memory in order to be functional. To have functionality at the highest speed, you need high bandwidth. If that is going to be the case, and memory is still going to be a story. So is Micron stopping at this point? No, because the bottleneck has not been solved. Will it be solved by the end of the year? No, they've already sold out for the rest of this year. We talked about it last week in terms of Nvidia and Apple, how much memory is going to be needed and who they're going to be facilitating that memory to or allocating that memory to, right? The same thing is happening in the NAND memory space. So that story is not going anywhere. Memory's not going anywhere. They are now changing the way memory looks, because they're not just saying, here's the compute, here's the compute, here's the compute. They're now actually signing people to 5-year deals, which is completely new for the space. SanDisk has done it, and it may be the thing that You start to see with SK Hynix, you might see Texas Instrument. They might start signing long-term deals with companies and say, we're going to have baked-in revenue, not just for 1 year, but for the next 5 years.
Stop playing short-term games, yo. Like some of you are going to be like, I was in that in 2026 and in 2030, you could have retired off of your gains from holding long-term. I'm telling you what I went through. I told this to Red Panda earlier. The only people I ever have issue with when it comes to investing is the people who didn't listen when I put out the information the first time. Like Nvidia, since 2016, is up 315x, not percent, 315x for a 10-year hold. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. If you don't listen, that's on you. You deserve to be broke. That's on you. Sorry. I ain't here to be nice. For real.
But also in 2006, largest companies when it comes to the stock market, you have ExxonMobil, you have General Electric, you have Microsoft, Citigroup, Bank of America, Royal Dutch Shell, BP, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Walmart. Some of those companies still around. Some of those companies are not doing so well right now. But when you talk about like Nvidia doing 10,000% just long-term buy and hold, that's if you invested in Nvidia when it was
25 cents
back then. But that's these companies that you're seeing now, they might become the next Nvidia. They might become like that situation. Is like some of the companies might not pan out, some of the companies well, but that's the thing. Like too, but those long-term holds are beneficial if you get a company before it becomes
changing the world.
company.
Becomes
Because the companies that's relevant right now to the top, 20 years from now, they're not going to be the top companies. That's why ETFs are beneficial as well, because they change. SMH is a ETF that's been going crazy. Chip ETF.
Stay there for really quick, because this is important. If you look at SMH, right, semiconductor ETF, look at the allocation for it. Like I was shocked when I looked inside the allocations at how far Nvidia has come down in the dominance of it. It used to sit at over 20%. I think last time I checked, it was like 13%.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa. Right? Micron, but they're again, the theme adjusting. They're seeing where the momentum is going. Micron has now stepped into the top 4 inside of SMH. TSM is inside Broadcom is in the top. The allocation has changed. It used to be, hey, if TSM
and it's also based on price. Like Nvidia high was 236.54. Even if you wanted to, you can't even put the allocation back into that 15 to 20% because one of my favorite phrases, risk to reward ratio, and asymmetric risk to reward is not there to do so. It's almost at the top, so it will have to come back to like 189. I would say go look when it was at $89. What was the allocation? So like you were saying, there's going to be a constant adjustment, but the entire focus is tech. That's why I keep telling you, 2 tech 2 index. The tech sector is going to give you the highest gains of all time. Stay invested.
And that's why, once again, the ETFs, the tech, because tech changes.
There you go.
So QQQ, it changes over the course of time. SMH changes over the course of time. Everybody been putting DRAM. That's a new ETF. That's going to change over the course of time. So it is always good to get the winners.
Yeah.
The next best thing is to get the ETF because it rebalances itself and changes as new winners come and people that were at the top start to fall off.
It tells you where the winners are, right? Like I'm looking at, and I forgot, I didn't even mention Intel. Intel wasn't even in the top 5. It is now number 3 inside of SMH at 7% allocation. Micron number 4, 7.5. AMD at 7.3. Broadcom is number 6 at 6.8. Intel wasn't even in the top 5 maybe 2 years ago, right? This is a company that was sitting at 23, couldn't get out its own way. Government invest. We talked about the breakdown of it last week. So it's telling you how they're moving the money around and where they're allocating it to. That gives you a good idea of the companies that are going to be moving it.
Yeah, also, just listen the first time, yo.
Yeah,
and like just like success. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying we when DRAM debuted at early April, we came on here and talked about it. That's changed allocation. When it started, it was equally down to the top. It was 22% SK Hynix, 22% Samsung, 22% Micron. Go look at it now. It's like 27% SK Hynix. That became $1 trillion company within the last 2 weeks. Samsung, $1 trillion company. Micron just became $1 trillion company. those are going to lead it. If you look at what Sanders is at inside of it, it's like at 5%. Right? So it's giving you an indication.
Sometimes you only get one shot at a lifetime opportunity. Some of you are waiting and sitting on the sidelines. I know some personally who have like the last 3 years, bro, I missed out. What do I do now? The truth is, if you keep missing out, action takers are going to take action, and those who are afraid are going to sit on the sidelines, and you're going to pay for it. You have to pick your pain. Do you want to put the money into the market and go through the dips, and in the year you're benefiting from it, or not? The choice is yours. But sometimes you only get one chance at a life-changing opportunity. Listen the first time. Execute. We've been doing this show for years, preponderance of evidence to show you all the millionaires. Stop making excuses. You can talk about language and all this stuff. I don't hear none of that, y'all. Execute the first time. Get your tickets to InvestFest. Because when the show go away, y'all really going to be upset. Or even Dirty. And it's going to be Sutton, too. Hey, love y'all. Last episode.
It's been real.
It's been real. Love y'all. I'm telling you want Xander to be 22, and I'm like, hey, if I made you money, please put. Nah. Nope. Won't happen. Listen the first time.
IBM, buy or pass?
That's a great question.
I'm not buying outside. You want me to start? I'm not buying right now.
Okay.
I'm not buying. I understand it. This is, I think IBM in this moment, I think quantum, it's early. We still have phases that we need to get through inside of this AI space that haven't been mastered, right? Like we were just talking about photonics. We have a bottleneck in memory. Like there are certain things that have to happen before we can get to quantum. But we just saw TSM get to the 3 nanometer chip. So the next variation probably get down to 2, and then we'll see what happens. So we're probably like, I would say minimum 5 years away from quantum being the actual thing. And when I think about IBM, if you're investing in it, you're trying to catch that growth now, and hopefully it grows to be something later. I'm not buying it present day. I'm not, personally.
I think it's a great buy, but it has to be at a price point in which I love. Definitely with the shooting up and gaining new interest, I wouldn't want to buy it at that price from a technical standpoint or from a fundamental standpoint. I won't give the price, but I did say at the 210 level, I like it a lot if it ever touch around those levels again. But it would have to be sub 240 for me to want to buy in, ideally like in the 220 to 213 range for me to want to buy it. The price in which you pay matters a lot. Michael Saylor's discovering that a lot this year. But respectfully, as I told you. So, respect. You don't
trust that strategy. Trust that strategy.
No, trust the strategy, but you have to also know what enemies you face. Even in my selection of Vanguard, there's or Vesco or BlackRock. There's a reason why those are selected. Oh, I want to say this too. There are more ETFs available now than there are stocks that are publicly traded.
Yeah, I saw that.
Don't get caught up in the ETF whirlwind or the ETF brothel. Some of you are starting to, what about the daily, the 4X income for the...
Oh, the dividend income weekly ETF. I'm like,
don't do it,
bro. What's happening?
Don't do it.
Yo, we got a big earnings week this week. Definitely related to the AI story. We got Broadcom reporting on Wednesday when we talk about XPUs and GPUs and ASIC custom chips. Broadcom is all over that connectivity. Broadcom is all over that story. They reported on Wednesday. Another huge company, number one in cybersecurity, CrowdStrike, will be reporting. We're definitely looking forward to those two. Somebody put Hewlett-Packard, saw them blow out earnings today.
For sure.
Another incredible story. If you don't have it on your watch list, I would definitely put it on my watch list. Has some similarities to AI servers in the same way that Dell did. They're more focused on not just the AI server, but kind of dealing with networking and cloud. And so Hewlett-Packard, HPE, if you don't have it on your watch list, put it on your watch list. UILU, stay tuned. But yeah, looking forward to Broadcom and CrowdStrike this week.
CrowdStrike.
Really good.
That's
I love
very
y'all.
good.
And for the record,
How's it treating you?
Good.
okay, I'm gonna do my Touré. Rashad, give us more.
Yo, I'm
Tell
not
me
calling
why.
them anymore. Yo, bro.
Is it good?
If that, I'm not calling. That's it. I'm not calling them anymore. How's it doing? Good.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Stay low, keep firing.
That's a fact. Y'all know the slogan.
For sure. And shout out to my boy Financial Conspirator. He bought 172, but he sold 32. But if you say never sell, it does break confidence in Thesis, even the debt raising. So I'm not picking on Michael, but I do have to say, I call, like, when you're investing in something on that liabilities or threats list, you have to factor in who your competition is.
But
That's
and
why
there's
I
some
don't say certain names on the show.
You can't. My theory. You can't tell me that you can buy at any price and it doesn't matter.
It didn't work for real world road rules challenge in the Pacific Northwest. Didn't work. Buy at any price, and it always goes up in perpetuity. That's not and this is why it's important to study. If you go study the mechanics of the publicly traded market since 1500, you can buy the charts. It's just going to cost you $100,000 to get all the charts for every stock ever traded. Nothing goes up in perpetuity forever. Got to study.
Oh, I forgot. This Wednesday we got the brother Ace Metaphor coming on tonight's conversation. No, last time he was on.
Man,
last time he was on, that was a classic moment. That was a classic
instant
moment.
classic.
For the ladies. Do
Oh,
it for the ladies.
yeah, he gonna definitely
do it for the ladies.
He gonna definitely be in full-fledged mode. Shout out.
What a time.
Do it for the ladies.
Ace
What
Metaphor.
a time.
Good dude.
That's gonna be a good one. I like
Shout out
Ace.
to that brother. Shout out to that brother. Okay. Wednesday, Blackout, featuring Ace Metaphor. Tonight's conversation. Thursday at 9:00 at night, we got a how-to episode with Alicia Little, the queen of AI. We're going to be talking about the AI blueprint, blueprint for business, for everything. You need to, really, really, really tap in. This is life-changing information, vitally important. Only got a few years left. And we will be giving away 10 InvestFest tickets because she will be speaking at InvestFest. So that's part of that. To anybody that watches, we will be doing it throughout the course of the show on Thursday at 9:00 at night. But you must watch the show live Thursday, 9:00 at night. No excuse. Knicks play on Wednesday. So nothing else is going on Thursday.
Yeah, nothing's going on.
Finals predictions?
Knicks in 6.
First, I got to give congratulations, Tim Martin, trainer Victor, great person. Just want to tell you congratulations. He was telling me about Wemby before he got drafted. So Rashad, when you made your proclamation, he said the same thing. He's like, I think he'll probably be top 5 all time when it's said and done. So
we're not trying to hear all that, man. We're not trying to hear all that, Ian. We in New York, man. We're not trying to hear all that. Not right now. All right, let that happen some other time.
That's my guy, yo. I got to support my fam.
The city is waiting for Game 3.
Rashad, what's your prediction?
I think that I predict that, I don't know. It's Game 7. I think it's gonna be a 7-game series. I definitely want the Knicks to win. So I want the Knicks to win for sure. I think that it's time to bring one back to the city. So I'm rooting for the Knicks. But Wemby, I like Wemby. He's a generational player. And I like the Spurs. They just, they got a nice young team. So, but I'm going for the Knicks. 6 games or 7 games. It's not going to be a sweep like how the Knicks. The Knicks, they've been sweeping these teams. I don't think they're going to sweep the Spurs.
Do you have a Texas bias? Who you going with?
My heart wants New York to win. But Popovich is from East Chicago. The last time I went to the game in New York was against the Spurs. I was telling y'all something there. Yo, why you rooting for New York for Castle? Shot gang. It's not gonna be a sweep, but I want to say I'm Spurs in 6 is what I'm hoping for.
What that game you went to, they got blown. The Spurs got blown out.
They got smacked, boy. They
just so you know,
Serena Williams racket.
Smacked.
They was putting belt to ass. I'm not gonna lie.
I like the Spurs.
My heart is with New York, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Dylan Harper is becoming one of my favorite NBA players.
He's tough, bro. He is.
Him and Stephon Castle together. That duo.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Wemby is, generational.
Yeah.
But can y'all shout out to them and shout out to SGA. He tried his best. But Chet Holmgren,
personal vendetta. I told you.
You take sometimes 2 shots in Game 7.
Listen, sometimes you talked about it earlier, relationship, right? Sometimes the best thing you can do in business is never amass an enemy list. I don't care if they 70. When Wemby see Chet, he gonna put belt to ass.
2 points,
bro.
4 points, 2 shots,
and then Bo not in the league. I'm like, Bo just could have took that spot. Why are you playing?
I'm not sure I've seen a player look that fearful, that shaken up, that withdrawn than that dude the other Saturday night. He took 2 shots. They said he's the first All-Star, All-NBA player to take 2 shots in a Game 7 in NBA history.
My thought is that he wasn't prepared. Anytime you see somebody be that nervous, you didn't prepare. The team or your personal team didn't put the game plan together for you because you had to know Wemby was coming to attack you. You had to know it. You did not prepare.
Shout out to SGA, man. Shout out to the 6 side.
Shout out to 38 Special, but don't do that. Don't
do that.
Wait, what happened?
Don't do that.
He said Jada kisses duck.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Special. I love you. Let's
don't do that.
Stop,
I saw that.
my brother. I love you. Please.
That's a legend.
Por favor.
Never in his life has he.
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Never has he ever.
I thought it was a joke.
And I'm gonna say this too. When you get to the top of the mountain, I don't gotta come fight everybody who at the bottom of the mountain.
That's a fact. That's a
Jada,
fact.
one of the few people who kept up with Big, and Jay, and you can argue, had the better verse. And I get this is a great brain lesson. When you're at the bottom of the mountain, I know you're gonna shoot to the top. If you're at the top, you cannot shoot down. It then makes you equals. Don't do it.
Yeah, shout out to Big.
You too talented for that.
Shout out to Hove. Yeah. Shout out to State Prop getting on stage. My son Petey Crack, Siegel. Y'all know that's my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
Freeway, Chris Anise.
Shout out to Meek Millie.
And Meek Millie's touch stage. Jasmine Sullivan.
Yeah, tough.
I mean, whoa. Transformation. Bilal touched the stage. It was nice, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We're gonna talk about the freestyle on Blackout.
We got to. We got to. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Y'all be good.
Tap in. We'll see you guys.
Love is love.
Wednesday.
That's a fact.
Hold for the long term. How long has the Spurs owner owned the Spurs? You don't even have to listen to me. Just listen to the greatest, who had these assets. Hold for a long period of time. Love y'all.
Y'all be blessed.